Water and Sanitation and the city of Tshwane need money to deal with the Hammanskraal cholera crisis. They are now knocking on the doors of National Treasury and the Development Bank. 23 people have been confirmed dead in the area, with many more still in hospital. One person has died in the Free State, with the total now at 24 nationwide. A makeshift clinic has been established to deal with patients presenting with symptoms. We are joined by eNCA's Heidi Giokos, who is tracking those developments in Hammanskraal. Heidi, you've spoken to a family who've tragically lost their daughter due to cholera. She's narrated a shocking story of what the hospital was like when her daughter was admitted.
Yes, indeed, Baron. What we have been told by one particular family here in Hammanskraal is basically how they lost their daughter. Let's just elaborate on what exactly has been said. So what we do understand is that people were starting to show severe symptoms of vomiting and diarrhea. They were then hospitalized. In this particular case, it was the daughter of this family that then went to the hospital. She was in the casualty ward for 4 days, and only after was she basically attended to. What we have been told is that there were many people in the hospital basically desperate for medical attention, experiencing severe vomiting and severe diarrhea, many of them needing basically to be given adult diapers because of how dire the situation actually was. The family members were not allowed to actually assist their loved ones, and they weren't actually allowed into the hospital. And this just paints the picture of how the hospital was obviously not able to deal with the severity of the situation. This particular mother says that she also feels and believes that she had diarrhea, she had cholera, but she decided not to go to Jubilee Hospital because of the condition that the hospital was in and how patients were just not being treated to, because either, number one, the hospital might have not really known what was causing this cholera outbreak or whether or not it was a cholera outbreak, and because she said that her daughter died because of the state that that hospital was in, and she decided not to get treated at that hospital. She is, of course, doing much better, but she's tragically lost her daughter because of this. Before we listen to what the mother had to say, I just want to also emphasize the fact that the NICD earlier this week did, in a press briefing, speak about the failure on the health department to act on time, and that everybody that is showing any kind of symptoms such as diarrhea or vomiting should be immediately treated as though they have cholera and not wait for lab results. And this is obviously what was transpiring in the hospitals, especially the Jubilee Hospital here, where only later did the health department in the province move patients to Steve Biko and George Mokari, because there was obviously an overwhelming need of medical attention. Really tragic, because firstly, people should not be dying of cholera in 2023, but that is obviously happening at this point. Barry, let's just listen to what this mother had to say about what was actually going on in the hospital when she had to take her daughter there.
A go ke ne ba ba biditse mo ground mall a ke tsore ba rileng ba feditse bya ne ba biditse ke mo counselor ba ile ba buile lata mara zamba khona on tlhalosetsa gore ba feditse mara Ramaphosa ke nna stay
wena botsa gore ba botsa Ramaphosa ba re wa tlhalwana.
Do you think he's failed you as a community, as people? You can't even drink water out of the tap.
Kara be ke ba botse Ramaphosa o Ramaphosa tla lokise tulo ya Hammanskraal ka metsi ka re batho ba fela ka metsi a ditšhila ba eme ka maoto
le botetse eNCA
ne ntse re voutela ANC.
So iliretseng ANC mo Hammanskraal
moama awa metsi re no bona metsi a matleliniki ko Randstown o tloa mo Hammanskraal police station o ya Kanana Bus Company Greenfield ke ona metsi yona me ko Randstown fela.
Yeah, Heidi, maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more of what was said there, but also we know that the death toll now is at 23 in Gauteng, in Hammanskraal. You know, it's a community that's already suffering and battling with so many other issues, and now this on top of everything else. What's the general feel there? The community members are probably angry.
Yes, so just for context purposes, that is not the part of the story about where she speaks about the state of the hospital. She's basically calling out President Cyril Ramaphosa to intervene and basically do something about this. We do know that this water crisis here in Hammanskraal is not anything new. It's probably 2 decades old. Residents have, of course, been highlighting this for many years. We've had our reporters, Baron, on the ground, for example, Mangoba Mkunu, as well as Pule Letshwiti-Jones, coming out time and time again to speak about the many water issues that community members face here in Hammanskraal. So it is nothing new. And this is what the community is saying, that they now have to buy water because they don't trust the water coming out of the taps. They've been told not to use the water coming out of the taps, and especially when they need to cook and drink the water, they have to buy the water. So it just shows you the severity and the seriousness of what is actually going on here. But we are stationed outside this makeshift clinic, if I can call it that. Heidi, my colleague, is going to show you now. It's a clinic that has been set up to facilitate and assist those in desperate need. As I've mentioned, the NICD has emphasized the fact that anybody with severe symptoms or any kind of symptoms such as diarrhea or cholera in the area need to treat it as though they have cholera. And we do know that it's all personnel on the ground, but many would say it's a little bit too late, because we do know that the death toll now has increased to 23 here in Hammanskraal and 1 in the Free State, making it a total of 24 people that have died due to the cholera outbreak. It's a very worrying picture, and I'm sure that community members are very angry and frustrated because, as I've mentioned, it's not something new that has been reported on. It's not something that just emerged yesterday. What do residents drink? The health department has said don't drink anything coming out of the tap, but people don't have money to buy water. The water should be fresh and clean coming out of the taps. There's also concern around the tankers and whether or not the water that's being transported and delivered to community members from the tankers is clean or not. So that is an issue in itself, Baron.
Yeah, thanks so much, Heidi, for giving us that update there in Hammanskraal. Of course, like Heidi just said, the situation is quite dire there, and it's not an issue that's new. It's something that has been coming for the last couple of years. Now, let's go to this. The cholera death toll, like we mentioned, has risen to 24, and 23 of those victims are from Hammanskraal in Gauteng and 1 in the Free State. Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa is visiting Mahikeng to address Northwest Party branches. Pule Letshwiti-Jones joins us now for more on that. Pule, of course, you know, the Northwest province, again, marred by, service delivery issues. We know that the president might be there or is on his way. You will give us the latest on that. But what else can you tell us from that conference that's taking place there?
Yeah, definitely. The president is expected to arrive here any moment from now. In fact, I've kept the regional deputy chairperson of the eNCA Mulera region waiting for quite some time, because I'd actually asked him to step out before he goes inside where the conference will be taking place. He joins me right now. Mr. Jafta, thank you very much for chatting to us. I just want to get a sense of, as branches, what are you expecting to get from the president today as he arrives and he will be addressing you guys?
Okay, no, thanks, Pule. This meeting is convened basically to afford branches an opportunity to interact with the National Working Committee, of course, to raise any issues that they deemed fit to raise with the NWC, issues relating to service delivery, issues relating to the functioning of the organization generally in the region and in the province. And also they will be expecting the NEC to give clear lines of march in terms of how we should deal and address issues that are political in the branches and issues of service delivery in municipalities.
And obviously, when we when we talk eNCA Mulera, we talk about one of the most troublesome municipalities being Ditsobotla, where we now have learned that some municipal workers haven't been paid there. What are some of the interventions you're putting in as the leadership here to ensure stability in that municipality?
No, thanks. Ditsobotla, it's quite problematic. We agree that there are challenges there in Ditsobotla, but what I can confirm to you is that the leadership of the region, working together with province and national, they are busy intervening in that municipality. At least now the province has sent a team of administrators there to assist to stabilize the administration of that municipality, to make sure that that municipality returns to its former glory, where it is able to give services to the people of Ditsobotla. So where we are sitting, we are quite confident that based on the interventions that have been brought in that municipality, the municipality will improve with time. Yes.
Are you also going to be engaging around investors coming into the area of Mawatu and Mahikeng? You know, we all know how it was previously known for tourist attraction as well. President, of course, has also spoken about how there should be much investment, which would lead to more job creation and employment. Is that something you'll be looking at during these discussions here today?
Yes, we are actually expecting a lot from the president, because our region and our province as large is challenged in terms of service delivery and job opportunities, especially amongst the young people. So we are expecting a lot from the president to touch base on those issues as to what the national government, of course through the ruling party, is intending to bring interventions and make sure that they grow the economy of the province and they create job opportunities. So we are expecting a lot from the president.
Thank you very much. Of course, that's the Deputy Regional Chairperson of the eNCA Mulera, which is the second largest region in terms of the ANC constituency in the province. But of course, we're expecting the President to address the members of the National Working Committee of the ANC, who were led by the national official bearers of the organization, but also importantly here will be some of the regional executive committee members and of course branch executive committee members who will be attending this meeting. But we're also expecting to hear from the President in terms of what are the outcomes of the meeting, but also touching externally on some of the issues affecting the country as well, such as the cholera outbreak, where we've seen the death toll now rising to 23 in Hammanskraal and 1 in the Free State, but also chatting just about the transfer of powers from the Energy Minister's ministry to now the Minister of Electricity, Khosienzo Ramakgopa, as to how well will that speak to the generation of capacity to fight the energy crisis, which is currently challenging the country as well.
Pule, and we know that the Northwest, it's, apart from all those failing municipalities, we can even take it back to 2021, when there were disputes with the candidate list. Is that still going to be a topic of discussion, even though it seems so far away already? But that could possibly also be related to the failure in service delivery in that province. That surely should also be a topic of discussion there.
Definitely, infighting within some of the branches and some of the units of the ANC in this province has been a problem. Provincially, the National Working Committee will try to diagnose the problem, but where we are, we've also gotten a sense that the regional leadership is trying to resolve some of those issues. You'd remember they were recently elected from the provincial conference, which sat just about a year ago, where the new chairperson of the province, Nono Maloy, was elected amongst the top 5 as well. And these are certainly some of the issues they've pledged to try and tackle. We will be getting an update as to how far they are. Even during the provincial conference, there were issues around the credibility of the nomination lists, the tags, amongst other challenges as well. And going into the election, of course, which will be hotly contested, this is something the ANC, or rather the President, would want to rectify in the province in terms of ensuring and administering the renewal of the branches, the unity in the province, but most importantly to ensure that the constituencies remain strengthened and that the numbers as well continue to increase in the province. So apart from that, it will be interesting to hear what happens when he speaks to issues at large affecting the residents in these areas, such as issues of water, issues of unemployment, amongst others as well.